For the first time in nearly half a decade, the ground wasn't just a desperate scattering of empty steel cases, and the air didn't smell like a frantic, overpriced panic buy. It felt like a massive, collective weight had finally been lifted clean off the shoulders of the American shooter. We have been through an absolute gauntlet, folks. From the 2021 supply droughts to the brutal import restrictions that completely wiped out our favorite foreign carbine food, keeping a consistent training schedule alive has felt like a rich man's luxury. But as we push deeper into 2026, the ammunition market isn't just experiencing a minor correction. It is undergoing an absolute freefall in the best way possible for our wallets. The primary domestic factories have finally scaled past their massive backlogs, and distributor warehouse floors are literally overflowing with crates they need to move immediately. If you are not stacking it deep right now, you are essentially gambling against your own future range time. Today, we are skipping the boring retail price lists. I am giving you a cold, hard, technical breakdown of 12 specific calibers that have absolutely tanked to rock-bottom prices. We are analyzing every single one based on real-world mechanical durability, defensive asset retention, and long-term vault logistics. Grab a fresh coffee, lock in, and let us look at exactly what you should be hauling home by the pallet load today. Number 12, 12 gauge. For the last few years, buying decent buckshot or quality rifled slugs felt like you were paying a premium for match-grade rifle ammo. But as we move through 2026, domestic manufacturing lines have completely caught up on automated hull production, leaving retail shelves heavily saturated with defensive and training loads. Running high-volume 12-gauge through your defensive shotgun is a highly demanding process. Whether you are running a classic pump-action 870 or a modern gas-operated 1301, the sheer force of a 12-gauge payload puts massive stress on your action bars, lifters, and dual extractors. The good news about this price drop is that it allows shooters to actually put their defensive rigs through rigorous high-round count training cycles to test component reliability and ensure proper gas port cycling without draining their bank accounts. Furthermore, for the reloaders out there, modern plastic hulls from companies like Federal and Remington are incredibly robust, featuring thick brass bases that can withstand multiple high-pressure resizings on a press before the crimp mouth begins to split or lose tension. Right now, we are seeing high-quality foreign and domestic low-recoil buckshot cases floating anywhere between 55 to 65 cents a shell. If you find a bulk case of brand-name double-aught buckshot or rifled slugs dipping toward 50 cents a pop, do not ask a single question. Number 11. 5.56 NATO. We are looking at the absolute lifeblood of the modern defensive rifle, the 5.56 NATO, along with its civilian twin, the 223 Remington. For the past few years, keeping an intermediate carbine fed felt like playing the stock market, with brass-cased ball ammo spiking and dipping based on global supply chain friction. But right now, we are sitting directly in the sweet spot of a massive domestic inventory liquidation. Production plants scaled up massively over the last 24 months, and with supply lines completely stabilizing, distributors are aggressively floating out bulk cases just to clear warehouse space. When you break down the mechanics, the 5.56 NATO is a completely different animal than lower-pressure pistol rounds. Operating at a blistering maximum pressure of roughly 62,000 psi, this cartridge demands absolute consistency from your rifle's gas system. The massive benefit of the early 26 market surplus is the astonishing cleanliness of the powder blends being used by top-tier manufacturers like PMC and Federal. During the height of the component shortages, factory lines were occasionally forced to substitute dirtier, non-optimal propellant blends just to get shipping containers out the door. Today, the powder burn rates are incredibly uniform, resulting in drastically reduced carbon fouling inside your bolt carrier group and gas tube, while keeping your rifle's cyclic rate perfectly flat during intense multi-day training courses. Currently, bulk cases of high-quality brass-cased factory ammunition are landing at your doorstep between 32 to 38 cents a round. If you see a 1,000-round case dropping anywhere near $320 shipped, buy it immediately and stack it high. You can never have too much 5.56. Number 10. 45 ACP. We are diving into a big-bore classic that is finally breaking away from panic pricing territory and returning to the realm of high-volume range work, the 45 ACP, because a massive percentage of modern shooters have migrated over to high-capacity 9mm micro-compacts for daily carry. Consumer demand for the heavy-hitting 45 has dipped significantly. Retailers are staring at stagnant inventory piles of heavy pistol ammunition, which means they are slashing margins to get these boxes moving out the door. The 45 ACP operates on an entirely distinct mechanical philosophy compared to smaller, high-velocity defensive rounds. It chugs along at a remarkably low operating pressure of just 21,000 psi. This low-pressure signature delivers an enormous mechanical advantage for your high-end carbines or custom classic Model 1911 platforms. Because the pressure wave is so gentle, your barrel experiences almost zero throat erosion, and the internal components, such as your extractor claw and slide lugs, see significantly less violent shock wear over thousands of rounds. For the reloading crowd, this cartridge is the ultimate gift. The heavy, robust brass walls experience minimal stretching during firing, allowing you to pass these cases through a sizing die over and over again without experiencing mouth splits or primer pocket loosening. The 45 ACP is inherently subsonic, straight out of the box, typically pushing a heavy 230-grain projectile. This makes it the undisputed king for suppressed handguns, allowing you to achieve maximum sound suppression without needing to source specialized, overpriced subsonic boutique ammunition. The recoil profile is a predictable linear push rather than a snappy flip, making it highly manageable for shooters who know how to drive a proper support hand grip. On the negative side, the physical weight is a massive logistical drawback. If you are organizing a mobile emergency setup, carrying 500 rounds of 45 ACP requires nearly double the physical payload capacity of standard centerfire pistol ammunition. We are currently seeing reliable factory brass casing options floating around 38 to 42 cents a round. If a case dips below that $400 threshold, lock it down. Number 9. 357 Magnum. For years, keeping a high-quality revolver or a slick lever rifle felt like a luxury hobby, because major manufacturers turned all their automated tooling toward high-volume military contracts. But as we move through 2026, the supply lines for specialized revolver casings have completely normalized, breaking the retail gridlock and bringing bulk boxes back to the shelves by the pallet load. When you look at the technical mechanics under the hood, the 357 Magnum is a high-pressure beast, generating up to 35,000 psi. Running this round through a lever-action rifle requires absolute precision in your carrier timing and cartridge guide alignment. The massive advantage of the early 26 market crash is that factory ball ammunition is utilizing incredibly consistent, slower-burning propellants optimized for carbine-length barrels. This uniform burning profile means you see drastically reduced throat erosion at the chamber mouth, and it keeps your lever-action lifters from getting locked up with sticky carbon sludge during a long afternoon of steel targets. For the hand-loading community, 357 brass is pure gold. The thick, straight-walled cases experience almost no lateral stretching, allowing you to cycle them through a heavy-duty crimping die multiple times before the neck starts to split. Right now, factory-fresh boxes of clean-burning brass-cased target ammunition are falling to highly reasonable levels, with 38 special ball hovering around 30 to 35 cents a pop, and full-power 357 Magnum loads stabilizing right around 45 to 55 cents a round. If you find a bulk case of jacketed flat-point rounds hitting the market under 45 cents, do not hesitate for a second. Stock your vault deep. Number 8. 300 Blackout. A cartridge that used to be considered a rich man's boutique AR-15 round, but has officially crashed into the realm of everyday affordability. The 300 Blackout. Originally engineered to deliver hard-hitting .30 caliber terminal ballistics out of a standard pattern intermediate rifle chassis, while utilizing short barrels and suppressors, this round spent its early life heavily overpriced due to limited factory brass availability. In 2026, massive infrastructure scaling across multiple domestic ammunition plants has completely flooded the market, making it easy for any shooter to keep a few crates on hand. From a strict mechanical perspective, the pressure curve of the 300 Blackout is masterfully tailored for compact gas systems. It achieves a total efficient burn of its powder charge inside an 8 or 9-inch barrel, unlike a standard 5.56 NATO, which wastes massive amounts of velocity and creates a blinding muzzle flash out of short pipes. Because the powder burns so cleanly and completely within those first few inches, your bolt carrier group experiences a much gentler gas pulse, which drastically reduces internal parts wear on your bolt lugs and cam pin over thousands of rounds of high-volume cycling. Training-grade full-metal jacket ammunition from specialized suppliers has dropped significantly, with high-quality brass-cased training rounds hovering consistently between 55 to 65 cents a pop, down drastically from the dollar-plus prices seen during peak market shortages. Now is the absolute ideal window to stop babying your high-end short barrels and actually run those intense close-quarters drills. Number 7. 10mm Auto. We are shining a massive spotlight on a heavy-hitting semi-auto cartridge that has exploded in popularity for backwoods defense and heavy-duty carry. The 10mm Auto. For a long time, feeding a 10mm handgun was an expensive, niche endeavor, because factory ammo was treated as a boutique specialty product, often underloaded to match standard .40 Smith & Wesson velocities while still charging a premium price. But as we move through 2026, the massive influx of modern polymer frame and 1811 platforms chambered in this powerhouse has driven factory lines to run full-capacity bulk target ammo, completely collapsing the price floor. From a structural and mechanical perspective, the 10mm Auto is an absolute hammer, running at peak chamber pressures of up to 37,500 psi. Slapping this kind of energy through a semi-automatic platform places tremendous kinetic stress on your slide-stop pins, recoil springs, and frame rails. The beautiful thing about the early 2026 ammunition surplus is that top-tier manufacturers are turning out highly consistent full-metal jacket loads using incredibly stable, clean-burning powders. This highly uniform pressure curve prevents premature unlocking of the breech face, drastically reducing battering on your frame lugs and minimizing carbon deposits around your extractor claw during a hard, high-volume day on the flat range. For anyone sitting behind a reloading press, 10mm brass is a prime asset. The long, straight-walled cases are incredibly robust and hold their primer pocket tension exceptionally well, meaning you can reload these hulls repeatedly before seeing any expansion or head separation. Right now, high-quality, full-power factory full-metal jacket cases are hitting the market at historic lows, floating consistently between 32 to 38 cents a round. If you find a bulk case of 180-grain target loads dropping anywhere near 30 cents a pop, do not wait. Stock your shelves until they sag. Number 6. 545 by 39. A round that has put dedicated collectors and combat carbine fans on an absolute emotional roller coaster over the last few years. The 545 by 39. When the foreign import restrictions completely cut off the supply of ultra-cheap steel-cased military surplus crates, owners of high-quality platform builds watched in absolute horror as their primary training cartridge instantly vanished from retail sites, causing prices to skyrocket to ridiculous heights. But as we push deeper into 2026, the poison bullet is making a massive, triumphant comeback thanks to an entirely new supply pipeline. Heavy-duty manufacturing hubs across Eastern Europe and the Mediterranean have successfully retooled their factory setups to fill the massive vacuum, stabilizing the market and driving bulk case prices back into the realm of sanity. When you dive into the technical ballistics, the 545 by 39 is a masterclass in military engineering. It is globally famous for utilizing a specialized hollow air pocket directly inside the nose of the projectile, which forces the bullet to immediately yaw, pitch, and tumble the exact millisecond it impacts a soft target. Mechanically, this cartridge operates on an incredibly mild recoil impulse that sits significantly lower than a standard 5.56 NATO round. This ultra-soft shooting profile translates directly to a completely flat muzzle tracking experience during rapid-fire strings, allowing the operator to stay locked onto their sight picture and hammer incredibly fast follow-up shots during high-intensity training drills. Currently, these newly imported steel-case training loads are stabilizing beautifully, right in the 38 to 45 cents per round territory. If you find bulk storage tins or cases landing near 38 cents shipped, grab them by the pallet. It is officially time to pull those safe queens out of storage, heat up your barrels, and get back to work. Number 5. 762 by 39. It's a rugged intermediate heavy hitter that simply refuses to die. The legendary 762 by 39. Famously known as the hammer of modern defensive revolutions, this cartridge is an absolute staple for shooters who demand a rifle round that can punch straight through dense brush and light barriers without breaking a sweat. Just like its smaller, high-velocity brother, this cartridge took a massive retail hit during the foreign supply disruptions, leaving guys running classic semi-auto carbines and rugged custom builds sweating bullets over their long-term supply stockpiles. But as we push through early 2026, the market has settled into a beautiful, highly affordable new normal. What makes the 762 by 39 an absolute tank in terms of reliability is its highly aggressive case taper. That sharp cone geometry is the exact reason a well-built rifle can cycle through literal mud, grit, and sand without jamming. The casing breaks its friction seal with the chamber walls almost instantly during the primary extraction cycle. The major technical win in 2026 is a massive market shift toward high-quality, boxer-primed brass cases coming out of premium manufacturing lines in places like Bosnia and Serbia. This is an enormous win for the reloading community, giving you robust, uniform primer pockets that allow you to tune your own .30 caliber loads for precise velocity consistency. On the steel-cased side, newly imported shipments are burning incredibly clean, completely avoiding the mystery blend powders of old that used to leave thick, sticky residue all over your piston head. Online distributors are actively flooding the market with clean, reliable, steel-cased crates, right around the $350 mark, for a full 1,000-round case. If you want to keep your foundational high-intensity drilling sharp without burning a hole in your wallet, now is the time to stock up by the crate. Number 4. 6.5 Creedmoor. A highly optimized long-range cartridge that casual shooters love to hate until they actually sit behind the glass and watch it work. The 6.5 Creedmoor. This round has officially transitioned from a specialized precision competition cartridge into a dominant pillar of mainstream American shooting culture. Because of that massive, widespread popularity, factory production lines have scaled up to astronomical proportions, causing bulk case prices to completely crash to levels that make high-volume precision training an absolute reality in 2026. When you analyze the technical ballistics, the claim to fame for the 6.5 Creedmoor lies in its incredibly sleek, high ballistic coefficient projectiles. typically running in the 140 grain bracket. Mechanically, it delivers incredibly flat trajectories and excellent wind-bucking capabilities that match or exceed old-school heavy battle rifle rounds, but it does so with a massive reduction in felt recoil. This soft recoil impulse is a massive physical advantage, preventing shooter fatigue and maintaining a perfectly steady sight picture during extended strings of fire on a long-range course. The current market surplus is packed with high-quality bulk boxes, using temperature-stable propellants and ultra-consistent primers, meaning you get incredibly tight velocity spreads right out of a factory box, which is exactly what you need when calculating hits past half a mile. Bulk training cases from reliable European and domestic lines are dipping comfortably into the 70 to 80 cent per round range. For a cartridge that can repeatedly slap a torso-sized steel target at 800 yards, that is an absolute steal. If you have been waiting for a solid excuse to pick up that precision bolt-action rig, the price of ammunition is officially no longer an obstacle. Number 3. 22 LR. During the dark days of the peak market shortages, panicked buyers were hoarding boxes of rimfire ammunition as if it were physical gold bullion, driving retail prices up to absolute insanity. Fast forward to early 2026, and the market has experienced a massive supply explosion. Distributors are literally buried under massive pallets of bulk boxes, leading to the sharpest percentage drop in cost across the entire ammunition sector. The 22 LR is a completely unique beast because it utilizes a heel-based bullet design. This means the lead projectile is engineered to match the exact outside diameter of the casing itself. Historically, cheap bulk ammunition was notorious for causing frequent failure to ignite issues due to uneven priming compound distribution inside the rim. However, by 2026, manufacturing tech has advanced significantly. Brands like CCI and Federal have mastered automated rim priming consistency, drastically reducing those annoying click-but-no-bang duds even when running through finicky semi-automatic training pistols like a Ruger Mark IV. Because these rounds leave the muzzle at standard velocities between 1,000 and 1,200 feet per second, they provide the exact pressure needed to cycle small actions cleanly while keeping internal carbon fouling manageable. The cost-to-fun ratio is completely unbeatable, and your barrel life is essentially infinite. You could easily burn through a 500-round brick in a single afternoon without breaking a sweat or denting your bank account, making it the perfect tool for mastering trigger control and sight tracking without fighting muzzle blast. On the negative side, rimfire lacks the raw terminal energy required for anything beyond basic pest control or small varmints. Logistically, it is also highly susceptible to environmental degradation. The external wax lubricants and exposed lead projectiles can oxidize rapidly over time, meaning you absolutely must store your bulk bricks inside airtight cans packed with fresh desiccant packs if you plan on stacking them for long-term storage. We are seeing 500-round bulk packs from Federal Automatch and Remington Thunderbolt sitting consistently between $30 to $38 at every major online retailer. That puts you at a clean 6 to 8 cents a pop. If you see it dipping toward 5 cents, clear the shelf instantly. Number 2, 308. For a long stretch of time, pulling the trigger on a .30 caliber rifle felt like firing actual dollar bills downrange, with even bottom-shelf steel training rounds hitting premium price points. But as we stand here today in early 2026, bulk ball ammunition has officially plunged back down into deep green territory, making high-volume heavy rifle training accessible once again. The 308 operates at a bruising maximum pressure of 62,000 psi. This heavy pressure curve puts massive mechanical strain on your extraction components, especially if you are running violent semi-automatic battle rifles like an M1A, an FAL, or a modern AR-10 platform. These systems are notoriously brutal on brass casings during the primary extraction stroke. The incredible news about the 2026 surplus is the astonishing structural quality of the factory bulk cases, coming from heavy-duty European manufacturers like Celia and Blackout and Magtech. These lines are delivering incredibly uniform case wall thicknesses and robust rim dimensions, ensuring your extractors don't rip through the brass lips and allowing home reloaders to comfortably pass these fired hulls through a resizing press multiple times without losing primer pocket tension. Looking at the tactical advantages, you get legendary long-range terminal ballistics and the absolute capability to reach out and punch through hard barriers or slap steel at 800 yards with total authority. Prices for premium brass cases have stabilized beautifully between 50 to 60 cents a pop. On the downside, the recoil impulse is significant. If you are signing up for a high-volume, multi-day defensive rifle course, your shoulder is going to absorb a massive amount of cumulative kinetic energy, making proper stock placement and recoil management absolutely mandatory to prevent shooter fatigue. Right now, 200-round battle packs of clean-burning, brass-cased 147-grain, full-metal jacket loads are actively floating around $112 out the door. That is a flat 56 cents a round for premium, non-corrosive duty brass. If you actually shoot your heavy rifles instead of letting them sit around looking pretty in the vault, now is the time to stack a few cases deep. Number 1. 9mm. Whether you are driving a stock-duty pistol, a subcompact carry rig, or one of those ultra-premium, high-capacity 2011 race guns, 9mm is the exact fuel you are burning through the fastest. After the absolute retail madness of 2021, where panicking consumers were actively paying near-rifle prices for basic pistol ball ammo, the early 2026 market crash has officially brought this caliber back to true weekend warrior levels. The market is completely saturated, with manufacturing plants running 24-hour automated lines just to stop warehouse storage rooms from bursting at the seams. The 9mm Luger operates as a high-pressure pistol round, topping out around 35,000 psi. Because it is the most common centerfire handgun round on the face of the earth, factory manufacturing tolerances are currently tighter than they have ever been in human history. The massive technical win of this current inventory glut is the staggering volume of boxer-primed, clean-cased brass flooding the shelves from world-class lines like Magtech and Celia and Blackout. Factory target loads are pushing standard 115 and 124 grain projectiles with incredibly uniform factory powder charges. This extreme charge consistency means your handgun's slide velocity remains perfectly uniform, drastically reducing stovepipes or failure to feed issues, while allowing you to focus entirely on maintaining your sight tracking and mastering your draw-to-first shot drills. It is the absolute cheapest centerfire handgun round to feed. It is remarkably gentle on your firearm's internal components, and it is incredibly easy to manage in terms of physical storage logistics. You can store thousands of rounds in a tiny corner of your vault without a single worry. On the downside, because literally everyone shoots it, it is always the absolute first caliber to completely vanish from retail shelves the very second there is a minor hint of social or political friction. Furthermore, while standard full metal jacket training rounds are dirt cheap, high-end jacketed hollow points for actual self-defense duty still command a premium retail price tag. Right now, bulk cases of a full 1,000 rounds of brass-cased factory target ammo are landing shipped to your front door for under $230. That breaks down to a staggering 23 cents a round, a low point we haven't witnessed in over half a decade. My absolute best advice? Buy it by the truckload, until your storage shelves literally start to sag. The massive ammunition deflation we are witnessing in early 2026 is a rare, high-value anomaly in an increasingly expensive world. History has taught us a brutal lesson over and over again. Empty retail shelves and sudden price spikes happen overnight. But market corrections take years to build back up. Whether you are stacking 5.56 NATO for your primary homestead defensive carbine, loading up on 10mm auto for heavy backcountry predator security, or simply hoarding 9mm Luger by the pallet to keep your everyday carry fundamentals razor sharp, the clock is actively ticking on these wholesale margins. Do not be the operator who sits on the sidelines, waiting for the prices to drop another single penny, only to get caught completely empty-handed when the next major social or political hiccup sends the entire industry back into a panic-buying frenzy. Buy it by the crate while the shelves are sagging. Pack your airtight storage cans with fresh desiccant packs, and most importantly, get off the internet and put the actual training hours downrange. A 1,000-round case means absolutely nothing if your recoil management and failure drills are completely rusted out. If you want to keep our community strong and support this kind of raw technical range analysis, do me a huge favor. Hammer that like button, smash that subscribe ring, and drop a comment down below telling me exactly which caliber you are stacking deepest in your vault this week. Let us get to work. Stay sharp.